bring in former Mississippi Governor and RNC Chairman Haley Barbour. Governor, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
So the premiums in Mississippi, Obamacare premiums, expected to rise about 25%. Is that right?
That'd be the national average, and I don't think it'll be any less than that.
So what is that resonating with voters? What are you seeing there, Governor?
Well, look, Obamacare has been very unpopular from the beginning because it was predicated on some things that the American people were told that simply weren't true. You can keep your doctor if you want to. You can keep your plan if you want to. Well, both those things are just absolutely blatantly false. You'll save $2,500 a year on your health insurance premium, President Obama taught us. It's not a tax. And yet, when the Supreme Court allowed it to come into effect, they said it is because it is a tax is the only reason it's constitutional. So the American people have plenty to be skeptical about, including how it's gone. You know, the idea, how do you pay for it? Only about 11.5 million people have benefited from Obamacare, according to what was put out this year by the administration itself.
Right.
And it goes
now, most of those people had health insurance before Obamacare existed. They turned in their health insurance because they wanted to get a subsidy. 86% of all the people who belong to the exchanges get a subsidy that averages $3,400 a year.
Yeah, this was an ideology. I mean, I know I've said this before, but the bottom line is, in the president's first 2 years in office, he had both chambers. He could have done anything. And what does he choose to do right after we're fresh off of a massive financial collapse in 2007? What does he choose to do? Stick Obamacare down everybody's throats instead of focusing on economic growth. We needed to focus on economic growth in his first 2 years in office.
Well, and there's no question Americans look back and recognize that, and by the way, Americans thought it at the time. But this has been a dream of the left for generations, to have a government-run health care system, and Obamacare is designed to inevitably lead to a government-run health care system, something Hillary Clinton proposed 1993-94, and the Democrat Congress wouldn't even vote on it.
You know, I think it's so fascinating, too, because it's a bigger failure than just for the people who are getting increase in premiums. We're seeing that insurance companies can't afford to stay in it, and then we're also seeing freelancers and other people who are trying to buy their insurance. Their premiums are going up. People are getting less covered. We're going to get our prescriptions. Those costs are going up, and it's just a failure all the way around.
Well, it is, and the other thing that people overlook, 16 million people were added to the Medicaid rolls as part of Obamacare. I mean, if they wanted to help the poorest people, the people who couldn't afford, it would have been simpler just to put people on Medicaid. And in most states like mine, Medicaid is a very full, vibrant system for our poor people, for people who can't afford health care. But instead, they screwed up the whole private market, just as you said, and really could have done it with Medicaid.
Yeah. So there's Obamacare, and then there's corruption. Interim DNC chairwoman Donna Brazile, out as a CNN contributor. She was fired after WikiLeaks revealed that she sent 2 questions to the Clinton campaign during the primary debates. Here's former CNN President Jonathan Klein. He went on with Megyn Kelly last night.
I think CNN has come to the conclusions they have because they've done an investigation. And they may not want to talk about all of the internal workings, but I can tell you that nothing is taken more seriously within the walls of CNN, both when I was there, which is 6 years ago, and today, than issues around the integrity of the place. And they sweat a comma in a report.
So how did it happen then, if there's such integrity? Governor Barbour, what do you think? I mean, Donna Brazile, we have the emails. She sent the email to John Podesta. Hillary Clinton will be asked about the Flint, Michigan crisis from a woman with a rash. Hillary Clinton will be asked about, was it gun control, Dagan? It was the first question?
Yes, gun control was the first question, and then the second one was the Flint water crisis.
Yeah, she cheated. I mean, should she have said, hey, I got the questions, I just want to raise my hand here?
Well, the thing to me is that how little coverage has gotten in the news media. I'm glad you had something on it last night on Fox, but the fact of the matter is the American people have sort of shrugged about this because they already knew that most of the liberal media elite were totally for Clinton, against Trump, and so this didn't come as a surprise to too many people.
Yeah.
When you look at where political contributions went, the liberal media elite gives all their money to Clinton.
That's nowhere.
Hey, Governor, Don Peebles, a question for you. This is more than just a liberal slant to an editorial coverage. This is actually dealing with the integrity of our political process and our debate process.
Exactly.
Wouldn't this be a matter that the FCC should be regulating or investigating? Because this undermines our democracy to a degree. And by the way, I'm a Democrat. So, but I think the whole system is predicated on fair play. So what do you think should be done about this? Because I don't think it can go unchecked, and CNN firing her, is that sufficient?
John, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know the limits of the Federal Communications Commission's authority in this sort of thing. You know, for years and years we had sort of fair play rules that applied. How much that would be applicable to this? But it sure is. It is exactly what you say. When Donald Trump made his point yesterday about if this were Reince Priebus giving information to Donald Trump, there would be an explosion in the liberal media elite that would blow your ears off.
Yeah, right.
And the fact that it's not today speaks volumes.
By the way, before you go, Governor, what's your thought on these down-ballot races for the Senate? You've got Marco Rubio versus Patrick Murphy in Florida, Kelly Ayotte versus Governor Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire, Pat Toomey versus Katie McGinty in Pennsylvania, and replacing Harry Reid in Nevada, Joe Heck versus Catherine Cortez Masto. What's your take?
Well, there are about 8 races that are very close within the margin of error in the Senate. And, of course, Republicans have a 4-seat majority. I mean, they can lose 3 seats and still have the majority. A 4th if Kaine becomes vice president. We lose the Senate. 5 if we keep the White House, if we win the White House. But the one thing about this race, these down-ticket races, these senators knew from the start, with 24 Republican seats up and 10 Democrats, that they were going to be under a lot of pressure. They've run really good campaigns. They're running ahead of Trump in almost every one of these 8 states. And Trump is rising now in all of these states. I think we'll probably keep the Senate, but it's really, really a lot of pressure. And it's a credit to these individual senators and candidates like Joe Heck that they have run a race, that they are able to make the race about themselves and their opponents and not let it be overridden by what's going on nationally.
Yeah. Governor, good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Governor Barbour there. Fox